Welcome to today's episode of the CDE podcast. I am your host, Amy Conway, and I am part of the marketing team here at CDE. I'm very excited to be joined today by
Richard Hill from Lamor, Khalid Tabile from Khalid Al-Kharafi and Brothers Construction and Contracting Company, and Majed Yazi from Gulf Centre United Industrial.
Today, in this episode, we are going to be talking and exploring one of the world's pioneering remediation projects. It involved the cooperation of a global consortium of partners in order to bring this to life, and I cannot wait to deep dive into it with our guests here today.
So we would like to talk about the background to how this project came about and the history around the cleanup of Kuwait. Would somebody like to start to explain how this project began?
Thank you, Amy, for this chance. I would like to thank CDE team and everybody who's hosting us here for this podcast. This project started because of the Iraqi invasion to Kuwait in 1990, where this resulted of the most abnormal catastrophe in environmental conditions to certain area, where more than 700 oil wells have been burned. And this resulted, I was at that time a small engineer, where I was moving in between, and the sky were totally black. Even because of the oil drops, my car were white. They used to call my car the Toyota Dalmatian, like the dogs, Dalmatian dogs. Anyhow, it was the biggest environmental catastrophe on Earth that resulted of having more than, let's say, more than 25 to 30 million tons of contaminated soil. This project were granted to Kuwait as a compensation by the United Nations for this clearing on the soils, and it started in the early 2000s, and it took 20 years to start this project. This project were tendered in 2020, and it was awarded in 2021. This project were segregated into 5 projects, and luckily we and our partners Lamor for Finland got awarded 2 out of the 5. And currently we are in the year number 4, where we are very successful in doing this treatment of soil into different technologies.
Majed, would you like to tell us about how you became involved in this project?
Gulf Center were involved with this project since 2014. In the previous seed project, we supplied a couple of machines for the screening, crushing, and mixing for the soil. So when the tender's been proposed and they approve it to be bid for, we started to work with the trusted companies that we would like to participate with them and to work as a partner. And honestly speaking, Khalid Al-Kharafi was the company that we trusted in, and it was the right decision. We work with them as a partner. They never consider us as a subcontractor. We work together as one team. Yes. And for sure, because of the relation we have with the CDE since 2008, we are working together in the Virgin Sand in Kuwait, and we have supplied Kuwait many plants, more than 25 plants of CDE. We went to Lamor to propose our solution.
As you mentioned, yes, we're long-term partners, so it's great to have you with us here today.
We are their agent, CDE's agent in Kuwait as well.
Yes. So this particular project has been flagged as one of the world's firsts As I mentioned in the introduction, it's pioneering. What has it been like for your companies to be involved in such a high-profile project? And I suppose there's two questions here. What's it like to be involved, but also what's the impact for future?
Well, I think from Lamor's view, something great's come of it. We formed our partnership with Lamor. A new entity was born. We brought together some of the world's most experienced personnel. We've enabled that to roll out in Kuwait. And as you said, Amy, to be part of this kind of project on this scale is an honor. Not only have we formed new partnerships, but we've also formed new friendships as well. And I think that's probably a key to our success. I think, as Majid said, we're not so much subcontractors, we're not partners, we're more friends. This is, this project is done and carries on to be done on a personal level. So it's it's an honor.
Let me take you on a tour for this project. Okay, it's very important to understand the magnitude of this project. This is by far is the biggest environmental project on Earth. It will never happen until there is a catastrophe like this. This project, we started to scan more than 20 million square meters in north and south of Kuwait. And during the scanning, we have to do first the unexploded ordnance, where it was planted as a mines by the Iraqi invasion. And we have discovered many bombs, many cluster bombs. And until yesterday, still we are discovering bombs. So you can imagine how much is the risk, over 20 square kilometers of area to be scanned. After the scanning, we have to do a survey for the land to see where is the contamination and spot where is the contaminated area. And after scanning the contamination area over 20 million square meters, we have to do another activity called the ground truthing, where we go into the contaminated area features and see how much it is contaminated, the depth of contamination. And accordingly, we draw a 3D map of the land, because what we have to do is to excavate the soils as a laser cut. We are not allowed to take clean soil. We are only allowed to take the contaminated soil. Of course, these soils are in different levels of contamination, where CDE involved in the higher contamination treatment. And then after excavating these soils, we have to transport these soils like 30 kilometers away from our treatment center, where CDE plant is there, and the other activity for the remediation is there also as well. But before putting any small part of the soil inside the treatment process, either in the bioremediation or in the soil washing, we have to screen them. So we are allowed only to treat the soils that is below 20 mm, which is 2 centimeters. And then we have to take it to the process. Let me give you a small thing. The two projects, they are encounter more than 1,500 employees of different nationalities, different calibers, different countries, yes, different levels of education. On top of that, there is running at the same time more than 700 heavy equipment. So the last report we submitted to our client, which is KOC, indicates that with this equipment, we have, as if we traveled to the moon 42 times from the start of the project and came back to the moon.
In terms of transportation?
In terms of transportation. So you can imagine what is logistics required for this, what fuel is required for this. And by the way, all this equipment is monitored on the computer. The drivers, the equipment, the speed, everything is being done on the right, let's say, HSE standards.
Yes.
And because of that, these two projects have been awarded the most prestigious project awards in the region. The first one, which is the CEO of KOC Award of Excellence on the HSE. And recently we have received the GCC Award, which is Gulf Countries Award. So we received this for the countries of Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, Emirates, Oman, and Kuwait as the best project for the environment. So you can tell out of these awards how we are determined in our management to this project.
There's been some fantastic achievements that you mentioned there. Last year, the project was awarded over 1 million LTI free safe.
Yeah, I'm estimating if we say 1 million, okay? Because last month we have celebrated one of the projects 2 million, and the other project have already exceeded 3 million safe hours. And this is where we got our awards, okay? And these are prestigious awards. The dedication by the management on this project towards the HSE is very, let's say, on daily basis. And we have given authorization to our HSE managers to shut down the operation if there is any near miss or something expected. And this is what makes us distinguished, beside, of course, having the most effective soil washing plants also as well. Among all the other contractors, we have the most effective soil washing plants, which is done by CDE, fabricated by CDE. And everybody is looking at us as a role model in these projects. And I always keep telling my employees who's working for this project, as soon as this project is over, you will hang up a star on your shoulder.
Yeah, phenomenal. Yeah, it's one of those projects that will go down in history, for many reasons. We alluded there to the different methods of treatment. It goes through different processes before the soil washing. How did you come to establish what processes were required? How did the solution for this problem come around?
All right. KOC, our client, have defined two types of level of contamination. The first level, which is 1 to 5, and which is around 70% of this soil. TPH means total hydrocarbon percentage in the soil. And from 1 to 5%, KOC have determined, due that these projects are funded by United Nations, and United Nations have insisted to use the natural treatment for the soil and not to use something that is harming the environment. So bioremediation have been used for 70%, and the remaining part, 30% of the soil, is to be used by mechanical washing. This will lower the carbon effect on the treatment process, and it will be in line of the environmental specification and standards. So Lamor, our partner, they are one of the specialized companies in the bioremediation as well. And they are very successful in South America, they are successful in Asia, they are successful in Europe, and now currently they are successful in Oman. And of course, their star of success is Kuwait, as they say always. Okay, and we have to choose our partner on the other side for the mechanical washing, and we have chosen CDE among 7 contenders, believing in their capability and believing also that they are existing on the ground. This is most important. Today, I need people to give me the support for a technology that is not my expertise. This is the expertise of CDE. And for the other contenders, they are good, but they don't have the support on the ground. And this is most important for me. Today, I can buy from everywhere, but I need the after sales. And your partner on the ground were performing very well for us in this aspect. I leave Richard, you can say something about.
Yeah, well, I was, the first impressions I got from CDE was that, and it was similar thing what you were saying, Khalid, is that, you know, there are a few companies that do this type of technology. I mean, this technology for me, I'm, you know, by no means an expert at it. But one thing that did shine out in it, you know, it hit home, because Lamor is, you know, although we're from a different industry, we've got some synergies. And I was told today, design, manufacturing is all done in-house.
That's correct.
It's similar to Lamor, and I think, you know, these types of mega projects, as we like to refer to them, you know, when you start them and when you're operating them and throughout the life cycle of such a project, things change. You know, we get surprises, we get sometimes bad surprises, but sometimes nice surprises, but we have to adapt. You know, and working with someone like CDE, because you have this design and build in-house, you know, that kind of change can be done relatively easy. And I think that's, you know, a big key to the success, and hence the reason why, you know, all of these things fall together as being, you know, Khalid said, you know, one of the forefront runners in all this, and people are looking at, you know, the two sites that we have as a good example for the other contractors. So yeah, so it's nice to see. It's very nice to see.
If you don't mind, I'm going to pick up on some of the challenges you mentioned there. Everything from finding historical bombs on the ground to dealing with the amount of resources, people and machinery, and really trying to pull that together. One thing that we know is also in demand in Kuwait is water, and water as a resource. So how have you found incorporating that into the project as well, and making best use of what's available?
This is 100% true what you are saying. Let me elaborate on the treatment. Each ton of soil requires 2 tons of water. Since we are in the remote and the desert inside the oil fields, then securing water was a big hassle for us. The first thing we thought about is having pipe laying from nearby stations of water, but we found that the nearest one is around 50 kilometers. So it's a big hassle doing this. So we decided to build up our own lagoons and fill it up. So we have built in each project around 60,000 cubic meter of lagoons. However, to co-op with the concept of environmental, I have worked very hardly on my team to secure the wastewater treated, okay, to co-op on the concept of the environmental. And currently we are using the wastewater in our remediation, either on the bioremediation or on the soil washing. And this has been mentioned clearly in our sustainability report that Lamor is producing for this project on an annual basis, okay? And we are the only contractor who's utilizing wastewater. And this goes into the line of our management understanding on, we are in an environmental project, so we have to elaborate and to utilize all required for the environment. We are the only contractor who's using lighting, solar lighting poles. So all these aspects are been, let's say, emphasized or imposed by the management for that project to do it inside this project. Although it's not required from us. Anyway, it's not.
It's that extra level of sustainability in its practice, what we're
The discussion
preaching.
for this proposal that we proposed to Lamor for washing plant took almost 7 to 8 months until we convinced them about our solution. And Lamor was insisting that they want the water treatment to be part of the solution. They don't want only to treat the soil. Yes.
Okay.
And for sure, CDE, they help us a lot with this subject.
Yes, it's a subject that we're very passionate about, and water management and utilizing what's there.
By the way, the treated soil, we have to prove it is ready for revegetation. So again, we are contributing to this environment. When you talk about 8 million tons of soil that is ready for revegetation, that's a huge amount.
And what will the treated soil be used for?
For revegetation.
Yeah.
There is another project called Revegetation, and it is under the mandate of United Nations also, was secured to KOC. 3 projects are called Revegetation, and they would use this treated soil for that purpose.
Brilliant.
But I think the whole scale of the project as well. I mean, we can talk numbers, you know, but having the opportunity to actually see the site, whether it's in person or whether it's by the number of monthly YouTube videos that are produced, is amazing. I think there's no other word for it.
However, you know very well, with all the videos that will be produced, I always ask people to come and visit, because seeing is believing.
Exactly.
The things on the ground is in total different league. Okay? The owners of both companies, Al-Kharafi and Lamor, when they saw this, they were saying, really we are doing this? So it's a huge.
And everything's run like a machine, isn't it? You know, trucks coming in, trucks coming out, soil in, soil out, turning the soil over. Everything's like a big mechanical clockwork machine. It's really quite amazing. And you're right, Paddy. You don't get that from a video.
Yeah.
You know, to be able to be there on site.
So you get life is different than video.
Exactly.
When you will feel it.
Yes. Yeah. And then you have, you know, I think one word there is wow.
You know, Lamor, they went down with the contractors they are working with. We consider us as a partner. They want to check what's the facilities we have on ground. They want to make sure that there is services on ground or not. They went in many details before they make this selection. And thanks God, it went well.
And is there an expected completion date, or is this something that we see that will evolve? You know,
The completion date for the projects, you know, these are projects at the end of the day. It has a completion date. By end of this year, the first phase will be completed. There's a second phase will be completed after another year. However, because KOC had discovered more soil on the ground, there might be an extension, but they are due in early 2026.
is there anything else that you would like to add that we haven't already talked on?
I'd love to thank you, Amy, for hosting us today. And the hospitality that CDE has offered us. It's been a very nice and welcome visit. Thank you very much.
You're welcome anytime. You know, our home is your home here at CDE.
Shukran.
Melanie, thank you very much. With all this, what we encountered with this project, ups and downs, but we are very proud of ourselves, very proud of our partners. And what we do is in this project that we deal as a family with everybody, even your partner on the ground, Gulf Center. I see them more than I see my family in my office. But again, this is resulted with a relation that is full of trust, full of productivity. And this is why we are the best contractor on these projects. Everybody is talking about us, that we are the role model. Right? Even KOC and United Nations are bringing people to see only our projects, okay? To see how we are organized, how we are utilizing the best technologies. We are the only contractor who's having currently a running soil washing plant. We are the only contractor who's having a bioreactor in his facility. We are doing this as not as per the book, better than the book.
We're making history, yeah?
Yes. That's redefining history here. Yeah.
I would like to thank you for hosting us again here, which is this is our usual visit. And we will keep working together to make world green.
Yes.
As usual.
Bells. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you, Raj.